Be strong.
Alrighty, well, a very, very happy Monday here on the TNC Sports Talk YouTube channel. Thank you guys for tuning in. Justin Trento here with the throw-in for the next 2 hours here, taking you guys up until noon. And we're excited to be coming along. We got a busy, busy weekend to recap and to talk about. It was kind of more of a relaxing weekend for me on my end. Kind of took a little mental break away from the sports. Try to watch some college baseball a little bit this over the past weekend. Really was trying to watch the either Cincinnati or Xavier or even Kentucky, and it was kind of I had to find struggles on finding where to watch them at. But I was actually treated to a doubleheader yesterday with Xavier and Western Carolina, who squared off. So got a chance to watch a little bit of local sports this weekend. But I was trying to watch the Cincinnati Reds, and I guess with this whole new deal and the whole new deal with MLB TV and MLB at bat. Normally, it would extend my offer out until, sometime through February or through March to re-sign up. But I'm still complexing. So I didn't get any Reds games. And the wife kind of gets a little irritated when I listen to the Reds on the radio in the car. She kind of likes me. She kind of likes listening just to the music. She doesn't like me listening to podcasts or radio or the sports talk shows or whatnot that's given to you out there on the radio. So unfortunately, I didn't catch too much of the Reds games this weekend, but it was exciting. It was an exciting weekend to finally see baseball being played, being talked about, and we'll dive plenty into that. But otherwise, it was just kind of a nice chill back weekend. Got a chance to spend some time with the girls. They came over Saturday, talked, hung out with them, played some games, and what was great about it is that, this, it's being able to kind of share what I do with what they do. And then, I was trying to do a little bit for the program over the weekend while they were here. I try not to spend too much time on, I really try not to spend too much time putting together the show, when my daughters are over here, because I try to spend time with them other than putting notes into the show. So I had my Sunday morning. Okay, I got up a little bit early, went ahead and kind of had some of quote unquote me time, playing my console. And then I jumped over to the dining table, brought my laptop over there. All right, I was going to try to get a little bit of work done, as I, the big thing was trying to go through my top 25 of male athletes that we'll get to in this morning. But, it was, I was trying to go through the laptop, try to do some things. And then the girls came out. And they wanted to play. They wanted to eat breakfast. So I got to them, and I was like, all right, I'm going to put the game. I'm going to put the laptop away. And my oldest was like, no, go ahead. We'll wait 15, minutes, and we'll play a round of Uno or something like that. And man, they were really great, understanding, and had a really good time with them. But with that being said, man, I don't know where to begin. I think, we have the Cincinnati Reds, back Saturday and Sunday. And spring training, they don't really quite have a lot of in-game highlight reps. So I don't know how much I'm going to be able to share with you of the actual highlights audio wise. But I'm going to try to find some key things out. We talked about the hype back on Friday. It's just exciting to get baseball back and going. I'm excited to go out and see. I was stoked to see Brandon Williamson, even if it was for an inning, to go out there and to throw an inning and get some work in. Brandon Williams, these are going to be young guys that we're going to depend on. All right. Depend on solely. Let's see if I can pull together what I needed to pull together. I have it somewhere in here, maybe. Yep, right here at the very bottom of my list. And I mean, we have a bunch of younger guys that we're looking to step up to the plate to accept that challenge. And I mean, I've said this, last week. All right, Hunter Green and Nick Lodulu and Graham Ashcraft, they're not no rookies anymore. All right, compared to some of the guys that may get that rookie option. All right, they're not rookies in the major leagues anymore. They're sophomores. And then on the other note too is that they're primarily, this is their team. All right, these are the 3 guys, other than Luke Weaver, who is that veteran that's going to try to squeeze in. The fifth spot I say is still kind of open between Luis Cessa, and Connor Overton. Justin Dunn, it's going to be questionable come opening day just because of some shoulder irritation. But this is going to be a very young group of guys in that rotation, and they get to build their experience and share their journey through their major leagues, man. And, this is, the Reds are basically saying, all right, you 3, these are your guys. This is your team. Go out there every 5 days, work through the struggles. And this is, the ball club is basically on your back. All right. Yes, you're going to get some help with the, with the offensive side, but you still have a young group of guys dealing with the offensive tier. So like, Spencer Steer, Jose Barrero, who's looking to come up. Don't forget the outfield spot. Jake Fraley, Stuart Fairchild, TJ Friedel, Michael Ciani, a lot of young group of guys, and you're going to rely on those guys to help you through the ball club. Yes, you got the Vados and the Will Myers, and you got Chad Pender in there, and Jonathan India is coming back for another year. And, if we're protecting Tyler Stevenson and the designated hitter spot, yeah, you got some veterans in there. But a lot of this, the 2023 season is going to be about and lingers about the younger guys making this ball club their own. And I said this last week. Owners and front offices, go hide away, go hibernate for the summer, and let the Padres, let the Reds, and let David Bell, and let the fan base, and let Nick Kroll do their job by putting together a winning team. And I'm not saying that projections are already out there, and I hate the projections because it just adds on to what the ownership is already saying about the organization and about how it sucks. It talks about we were projected to be dead last. All right, there's no, and I absolutely hate it. I don't. Who says that we can't be better than the Pittsburgh Pirates, who always find a way somehow to be at the bottom of the division? Even though that the Cubs have made some effort into building up their ball club again, Eric Hosmer, Dansby Swanson, Cody Bellinger, but who says that we can't be better than the Chicago Cubs? We're only as good, as what is produced onto the field. And that's why I think it's important for this spring training. Spring training is not just about getting, a waste of time. A lot of people say it's a waste of time, and I disagree with you. I think spring training, a couple of things happen. You got the broadcasters that get ready for, calling baseball games, 162 games. Don't you think that they need a little bit of work? You got umpires, all right, because God knows they're not perfect. All right, they need a little bit of work too, and these spring training games help that. And then you got these players and coaches and building into scenarios, taking a first look at. I mean, where there's some areas and some key spots. Oh, I'm touching my computer here. There's some key spots in that rotation. Spencer Steer going to be over there at third base this year, get a crack at it, but we still got Matt Reynolds, Chad Pender, and Jason Volzer as options. Jose Barrero, we don't know how healthy he's going to stay this year. Kevin Newman is going to get that opportunity. I mean, we could even see Ellie Dela Cruz step up sometime this year. Jake, then that outfield is going to kind of be pretty empty compared to last year. Jake Freely, Stuart Fairchild, Michael Ciani, Will Benson, Nick Senzel, TJ Friedel, Nick Solak, Will Myers. This is the time where you kind of, check out and see where, what works and what doesn't work. So we're excited about spring training. I'm stoked. About spring training and for it to kicked underway Saturday. Reds picked up a victory that we'll talk about here in a little bit. Final score 4-3. And I think that was just a great motivation to kind of show everyone that hey, this is a ball club just like the other 29 teams, and then they can compete, especially in spring training. They go on to lose to the Giants 7-6 on Saturday. And then so they'll have the game continuing today against the Rangers at 3:00 this afternoon. If we get the lineup, we'll go ahead and share with you all over that. So that will take you a look at the local, around the trip of the local sports in Cincinnati, baseball, basketball. Want to congratulate the indoor. I had it up here in a moment. The indoor track and field for Cincinnati Bearcats as they won as they won the Americans men's indoor track and field champions over this past weekend. So congratulations to the Cincinnati Bearcats in the AAC. We also start diving into SmackDown. This past Friday night. Couple of hot stories coming out of there, as well as getting into Monday Night Raw and a couple of things that we can expect and anticipate. It's all in my notes. I promise you guys. I got them all set up. It's just getting going. Also want to get into some other news coming around the league, so we'll talk about that. We got 2 exciting hours to you guys. We're just getting warmed up here. Hey, what about those when we talk about baseball, we talk about the Reds, and we're already seeing the affections of the new rules. The pitch clock has been affected. I believe it was Manny Machado who for the Padres, and we'll talk about him in this program too as he signs that new major deal with the Padres, and just a little small comparison from where we're at to where the Padres are at in roster moves. And it's kind of good to glance at where the Padres could, where we could potentially be at if we make the right choices. Padres Manny Machado was given his first strike because he was not in the batter's box ready to go by the end of the pitch count or the pitch clock. So we saw a little bit of that over this past week in a couple of Reds scenarios, I believe in against the Cleveland game. That's going to be a challenge. I also saw that the Atlanta Braves, it was bases against, I want to say it was Saturday. It was the Braves versus the Red Sox. And it was bases loaded, tied at 6, was it bottom of the ninth, I believe. And the pitch clock wind down, and it was a 3-2 count, and the batter and for the Braves thought that he was going to get rewarded at ball 4 because the pitcher wasn't ready, but he wasn't apparently ready, and they called him out on strikes because he was looking. That was a way to end the game on Saturday. So we're going to be affected heavily on this pitch clock thing, and it's going to be new. It's going to be new adjustment to a lot of pitchers, especially these older pitchers. and it's going to be new to some of these batters. They really like to take their time. And I like seeing the umpires. They go out and they are enforcing all of this. Um, and it's just an exciting time. Baseball is back. All right, so we have a lot to cover here on this program, taking you guys up until noon, 2 hours here. Man, I want you guys to be safe out there. It is currently it was destined to rain. I haven't seen a whole lot of the storm coming by, but all day showers expected in our local area. So please be safe out there wherever you guys are coming from. So if you guys are watching us on YouTube, want to encourage you guys to hit that like, share, and subscribe button. Thank you. Welcome in. Press on those notifications and don't miss a single episode. For those over on Facebook, on Twitter, we want to say good morning and welcome. Hit that like, share it with a friend, and get people involved. If you guys want to get involved into the comments, jump on down to our YouTube channel at the TNC Sports Talk YouTube, and share along with us, and we'll definitely get you on our program. If you guys are also downloading us and taking us on the road after the program, we want to thank you, and be sure to share with your friends. So 2 hours coming up. We're going to take a time out, come on back, and discuss these Reds as they began spring training over the past weekend. Much more to come. You guys are listening to the Throw In here with Justin. That is me right here on the TNC Sports Talk YouTube channel. 10:22 here on the Throw-In. Welcome back to the TNC Sports Talk YouTube channel. You know, none of this is possible without the help and the platform from StreamYard Studios. StreamYard is the proud home of the TNC Sports Talk YouTube channel, where you can create your podcasts, videos, host virtual business meetings, and even conduct interviews. Check out their free version today at StreamYard.com. And that is true. I want to welcome you guys in on a Monday morning. Like I said, if you guys are out there on the road, it's looking gloomy. I'm looking outside my window right now, and it's like pitch dark. But I hope everyone is out there driving safe and being safe wherever you guys are at. Always excited. But hey, listen, it is baseball season, and I'm excited to get talking about these Cincinnati Reds. And you have to find a way. All right, as I mentioned to you guys before, it's a marathon. It's not a sprint. This is not the NFL. This is not the Cincinnati Bengals. This is not the Cincinnati Cyclones. And so you kind of have to find a way to kind of gripe through and say, all right, listen, you know, we're not going to get what we want, but let's make the most of what we have. And, you know, the Reds have been projectively known to be finishing last this year, complete bottom. And a lot of people are already saying that, hey, they're an afterthought. All right. It's the top teams, and they're the bottom teams. It's like the Moneyball situation, right? It's the top teams, the bottom teams, and then you got 50 feet of crap. And then you get the Cincinnati Reds. At least that is what a lot of people are already predicting in 2023. And I say, you know, the only people that are in the way of the Reds' success are the Cincinnati Reds. And I think it's important as a fan, as someone who lives in the local community, that they're going to rely a lot on the fan base to arrive at these games. And now, you know, here's the other statement. Yeah, you're going to get a decent crowd, hopefully over the weekend. You're going to get a decent crowd coming in on giveaway days. I know there's a handful of giveaway days I like to attend. You're going to get hopefully a decent crowd on these concerts, you know, these concerts after the game. But, you know, you really want to try to fill in the crowd as much. And I know it's probably difficult with work to get into a game on a Monday through Friday, and especially if a team is not performing well. But you got to find a way to show your support, get out there to this game. Forget about what the Castellinis are saying. Forget about what the ownership is trying to do. Forget about Rob Manfred and everything else. Focus just on the players, because, you know, I mentioned heavily last week, there are reasons to attend and to support these games over this next year. You know, whether that is Joey Votto being its final year with the Reds and final year possibly retiring at the end of this year, whether that is seeing the additions to the ball club, guys like Will Myers and Kevin Newman. And I know that they're not big names, but they're still names to go out there and see, whether it's also seeing these young rotations out of Hunter Green or Graham Ashcraft, or even Nick Lodolo coming back and having some good outings, whether it's seeing the up and rising potential star and Alexis Diaz in the bullpen. I mean, there are reasons to go out to the ball club, ball game. And also, listen, since, you know, Great American Ballpark, a really awesome stadium. I haven't been to many stadiums in my life. I still say Petco Park is number one in my books, but, you know, Great American Ballpark, man, a little bit of everything for you. You know, you have the open scenery of the Ohio River right there, you know, that you can see. They got that nice, cool, kid-friendly, playground area that, I remember a couple years back when they first opened that. I think it was 21. Took both of the girls. They had a blast. And, you know, if you kind of just want more of a laid-back game and to go out there and let the kids play and watch the game and be a part of the crowd, they have some really awesome, great things. You know, you had the museum to go to. So, going out to a ball club, supporting the Reds this year, I think is going to be a key issue, key component to some of their success. The Reds kicked things off on spring training over there at Goodyear Ballpark back on Saturday, where they picked up a victory over the Cleveland Guardians. Final score of 4-3. Brandon Williamson got the nod. Very excited to see some of these young guys come out there and start showing what they got, making their case for the major league squad. Williamson pitched 1 inning, 3 hits, 1 earned run on 1 strikeout. Matt McClain was the star of the game yesterday, going 2 for 2, a walk, a home run, and that home run comes off of a walk-off home run to give the Reds the victory. So great outing for both men. Let me get this quite set it up here for a moment. I got some audio want to share with you from both Brandon Williamson and that walk off here that was given. Give me a bear 1 minute. Let's get this set up here. And this is all thanks to StreamYard Studios that is making all this possible. All right, so here's the walk-off home run by Matt McClain in the 9th inning, tie ball game 3-3.
Had an aggressive turnaround first and forced the issue at second. And now he hammers one high and deep to left. That ball's way out of here, off the scoreboard, and Matt McClain of the Reds walk it off over the Guardians in the Cactus League opener. 4-3, the Redlegs win it.
Well, how about that? Like I said earlier, that guy's a ball player.
All right, that is that broadcast there, and then we get to hear from Brandon Williamson, who got pitched his first outing in spring training of this year back on Saturday.
It was fun. Got the nerves out early. You know, guy gets up and rips your second heater. It's just like, all right, well, we're back in it. Try to just fill her up and felt pretty good with getting some tinkering out. First spring training game, when do you start ripping stuff, you know, and feel like once a couple guys get knocks off heaters, like, all right, it's time. And I just needed to find what was landing today. And when I did, I was totally comfortable and felt good.
All right, that was Brandon Williamson talking about how he felt in his innings work. You know, I will tell you this. You know, I was listening to Jeff Brantley on the radio a little bit of Saturday's game, and he kept on talking about how, you know, the key component for the Reds this spring training is seeing all these younger guys and fighting and hustling. And one of the guys that was notable, and it was just rightfully due so that he hit the walk-off home run, was Matt McClain, absolute beast. Hopefully that we get to see more of that throughout the spring training. And who knows, maybe his performance is good enough to get him to a major league roster, maybe called opening day. Brandon Williamson, you know, nice prospect, you know, guy coming up, and you know, listen, he needs obviously you need the innings, and don't expect much from these guys in the first couple of days, but you know, as he gets his you know, figures himself out, get himself warmed up out there in Arizona, you know, expecting potentially, you know, big things coming from this roster, hopefully this year. Sunday's game, the Reds went on to fall short to the San Francisco Giants, 7-6, the final score. The Reds put up 6 runs, 11 hits off of 1 error. The Rangers, 7 runs, 14 hits off of 0 errors. Luke Weaver goes an inning, giving 1 strikeout, lights out in that first inning. Alexis Diaz gets his first crack of spring training, 1 inning, 2 hits, 1 run, and 2 strikeouts. TJ Friedel, 2 for 3 with a triple and a double, 2 RBIs and a run in the loss on Sunday. Got a chance to see guys like Ellie De La Cruz out there on Sunday, 0 for 3 and an RBI. And then Christian Encarnacion Strand, 0 for 1 and his pitch hit. So overall, great, decent weekend for the Reds. Expect a little bit more coming into the week as they kick things off against the Texas Rangers. They'll be home. First pitch is at 3:05 from Goodyear Ballpark. Texas Rangers 1-2 on spring. We'll have Martin Perez on the mound, while the Cincinnati Reds will have Hunter Green joining that mound, getting his first crack at spring training. So that is your Cincinnati Red stuff. And listen, and things that I like to always keep in mind is that we're going to see a little bit of everything. You know how the spring training works, and if you don't know, they usually get you a starting roster that is ideal, and then halfway through the game, then we see, about all 9 guys go through. You really see a lot of bullpen guys. So, Hunter Green will get the nod today. They're going to pitch him 1 inning. Now, when you want to compare this, you see the Reds' success, and right now, let's admit it's not the greatest. You see the Reds' success, and you start comparing it to what a ball club that is actually looking for success is doing. All right. And I'm going to turn to the San Diego Padres, because that's my second team. All right. They had guys going out there and pitching 2, maybe 3 innings already. And I know it's the first day of spring, but they want to get as many guys out there. They need to get reps in, and they need to get innings pitched. And it's like, I understand that the Reds are trying to protect these guys and these players, right? And I understand, okay, Brandon Williamson goes 1 inning. Okay, for me, that's understandable. Luke Weaver, who we know is a veteran and who has a couple years under his belt, is only limited to 1 inning. I would like to see him throw, yesterday I would love to see him throw 2-3 innings, especially if he had a good outing the first inning. And so, I think this spring is going to be a little trouble. It was going to provide trouble to viewing what the Reds are trying to do. And I would like to see a little bit of push to these guys. And I understand, this is the second year. A lot of these guys, Hunter Green, this is his second year, and most likely he'll probably go 1 inning. And great. Okay. But if you want to compare yourself to a winning ball club, to a ball club that is expected to win 90+ games this year, expected to go to the playoffs and even go to the World Series this year, such as the San Diego Padres, you got to look at what they're trying to do and what they're trying to push. And what they're pushing are 2, maybe 3 innings out from the beginning. And you're wondering maybe why the Reds then can't do that, at least to some of these veterans, some of these players. Nick Lodolo is one of them. I like to see Hunter Green go 2 innings today. I don't think we're going to get that. I think we're going to stick with everything down with 1 inning for the first outing. But I think then what you do is you set the timetable backwards a little bit, right? And this progression is very slow, which means it rolls over into opening day, where then these guys are only prepared to go 4-5 innings. And when I was listening to was Jonathan India. I was also listening to Nick Senzel, and they're talking about getting out to a fast start, right? They want to get out to a fast, quick start in the month of April. Well, you need your rotation to be ready to go for 5, at least 6 innings in the ball game. I'm counting on at least 5 innings from these guys coming opening day. Now, are they going to be ready in a month to go 5 solid innings? Well, if they don't go 5 innings in spring training, how do you know they're ready to go 5 innings on opening day? So I understand that maybe you don't want to overwork these guys in the rotation. And I understand that, we're still in April. The weather is still very cold. But you got to start pushing these guys a little bit. All right, we want to let's take a step away. Because when I come back, I want to talk about this Manny Machado deal. Listen, signing, he was out on the hunch, potentially opting out of a major contract to go see where the money is. A little surprised that he signed and settled back with the Padres. I don't know if he was confident in himself and getting more money or whatnot. We'll talk about that and break down the deal. Much more still to come. You guys are listening to The Throw-In right here on the TNC Sports Talk YouTube channel. Alrighty, 10:41 here on The Throw-In. Welcome back, everyone. Good morning. We'll be back here taking you guys up until noon. Hold on one second. I had an urgent message to reply to. All right. Now it's 10:42. All right, welcome back here on the program. Taking you guys up until noon here on a Monday morning, and we got a lot going underway. Reds continue their gameplay today, 3:05, and just looking at some of the issues that kind of linger around Major League Baseball. We know that there's a huge television deal right now with Bally Sports we talked about last week, as we still wait to that. But, man, I kind of wish the Cincinnati Reds had some of the problems other teams have. Because sometimes the other problems that the other teams have are good problems to have. And, a team that's really been fighting their way and saying that their time is now and that this year's the year. And with how close they made it last year, it's like, well, yeah, I mean, this may not be the same year, are the San Diego Padres. Now, a couple years, about 5 years ago, the Padres signed Manny Machado to original deal was 10 years, $300 million contract, which was the biggest deal at the time, with an opt-out option that would have went into effect this year. Now, it was already transparent that Manny Machado was going to go ahead and looked like he was going to opt out after the 2023 season, and look out there. I mean, he said a couple weeks ago that, he was looking, the money, you want to get paid, and the economic position of these players is something completely different than it was 5 years ago. I mean, these guys are signing for $350-400 million for 10, 15 years. And he was wanting to be a part of that. He's like, listen, I'm a good ball player, and let's give Manny Machado credit where credit's due. He's grown up with the Padres organization. I would have said, in Baltimore, he was just a kid. He went out to LA, kind of experienced a little things, had some fun. When he signed and settled down with San Diego, I think he really kind of started growing up and becoming the ball player I think everyone loved and wanted to hear. And really the Padres have really made a big focus around, having him in this core lineup. And the Padres deals right now, all right, Xander Bogaerts, currently 11 years, $280 million, taking him through 2033. Wow, that's incredible. Fernando Tatis Jr., 14 years, $340 million, taking him out to 2034. Yu Darvish on a 6-year, $108 million deal, 2020, taking him to 28. Joe Musgrove, 5-year deal, $100 million, taking him to 2027. Robert Suarez, Ha-Seong Kim, options out for 27 and 25. So the Padres are really looking into some really good shape when it comes down to keying in some of these big deals and some of these big ball players. And one of the questions were, you can't let Manny Machado walk, nonetheless, the potential of letting guys like Juan Soto walk, because this is, the Padres aren't just winning to build, win baseball today. Okay. They're hoping to have a 3-4 year run for the San Diego, and it's long overdue. The Padres have clawed and fight their way, and they're they're not even they're considered as a little cocky pit bull on the side, trying to get to the food chain and kicking everyone out, and they're taking everything that they want. For the longest time, they're still kind of considered the sisters to the Dodgers, and it's kind of like, you built this ball club now, and it's like you've done your due diligence, you picked up Bogaerts, you have Tatis is coming back healthy this year, you're extending guys like Musgrove and Darvish. Why don't you go ahead and just put it all out there to Machado, 11 years, this new deal, all right? New deal is 11 years, $350 million. So another $50 million added on for another year with no opt-out options this year, this time around, which is a really good thing for the Padres. You're basically locking the setting Machado for the remainder of his career, if you think about it, at least for the next 6-7 years for the organization. What this also does too is Juan Soto is supposed to be free agent this coming up year, and you have all these key elite guys that are locked up and set, and this may very well also lead into a Juan Soto deal. AJ Preller and Peter Seidler still have to figure out deals like Josh Hader and Juan Soto. I think, if you're asking my opinion, and take it for what it's worth, I go out and sign Juan Soto, you could always find another Josh Hader out there for a little bit cheaper. That bullpen is also always creating new closer opportunities. So I go out with Juan Soto, and if you can, you get Josh Hader on a better deal, then I do that. But the Padres looking up that they look pretty solid heading into this year, and it just makes you kind of a question. Like you said, these are good problems for the Padres, right? These are good problems that you could deal with. Whether it's hey, let's sign up these talented guys, and we have all these guys locked in and said, or we have overstacked in the bullpen. I mean, the Padres. Look at the Padres. You got Joe Musgrove, Darvish, Blake Snell going out there, Nick Martinez. You also got Michael Wacha, which seals up that 5-deal rotation. And then you also got a guy like Cole Hamill. I know he hasn't pitched in a while, in a couple years, a matter of fact, but the Padres are expecting him to have him kind of in the middle of 2023, but he's a good pitcher. If he could get back onto his winning ways, pitch solid ball games, he could definitely be a kind of ace in the hole under disguise to help the Padres get over that hump. And it's kind of like you reflect back to the Cincinnati Reds and where we were at. We kind of almost had that a couple years ago. And you take a look at like Hunter Green and Nick Lodolo and Graham Ashcraft, and nothing going wrong with them. These are all great prospects coming up, but I feel like they're being thrown out there and they're being told, all right, here's your ball club. Now, on the positive note, go ahead and take this ball club and shape it the way you want it. Pitch, you don't have a Mike Minor or a Luis, Castillo looking down on you. This is your ball club. But at the bottom, at the negative side of things, you don't have a Luis Castillo giving you pointers and giving you tips. You don't have a Mike Minor or a Sonny Gray giving you the tips and the advice that you need, the wisdom that you need. These are very young athletes still. They struggled last year, and hopefully, they learned a little bit last year, how to control how to control and aim and the speed ratio, velocity ratio. But we're hoping that they've been able to learn and move forward this year to have a better ball club. But yeah, man, it's just looking at that deal makes you wonder, how come I didn't become a baseball player at this time? Is it too late to become a baseball player and try to win all this money? It's crazy. I can't fathom all that. XFL highlights as we wrap up hour number 1 here on the program. We discovered St. Louis Blackhawks defeating the Seattle Sea Dragons on Thursday, 20-18. On Saturday, DC Defenders go in and dominate Vegas Vipers 18-6. San Antonio Brahmas picked up the victory over Orlando Guardians 30-12. And then Houston Roughnecks, the only home team to win this week, picked up a victory 23-14 over Arlington Renegades. We got the XFL Week 3 continues back to this Saturday, available on Fox at 7 p.m. We got the Seattle Sea Dragons taking on the Vegas Vipers. We'll get you more about Week 3 coming up here later on this week. All right, I want to also go ahead and congratulate. See where I'm at with my notes. I want to go ahead and congratulate Kyle Busch and the NASCAR's Cup Series at Fontana, as Kyle Busch makes his history with his first win for Richard Childress Racing. Kyle Busch now holds the all-time record for most consecutive Cup Series seasons with a win, surpassing Richard Petty. I think that deserves a round of applause there. I think NASCAR is kind of one of the overrated overrated, underrated sports. Okay, it doesn't get a lot of attention, and when it does, I think it gets its 15 seconds of fame, and then it kind of just blow passes. So definitely congratulations out to him, Kyle Busch, but well known racer, and definitely someone who deserves that that spotlight, and definitely deserves a win in Fontana. We also have Honda's Classic PGA over this past weekend. Kurt wins for the first time in 8 years. As Kirk picks up the win, he was 14 under par to go on and pick up the victory over there. So that's all said and done. All right, hour number 2, we're going to take a trip around the local sports, see what's going out there again with Cincinnati, as a couple big games out of the weekend for Cincinnati Cyclones. We'll take a look into the standings in their upcoming game. We'll also see the Bearcats. Talk about the Bearcats, the Musketeers, and the Wildcats in both baseball and in basketball. Also talking about some WWE. I still got my top 25 in works, ready to be displayed for you guys. Something that we continued from last week. So I'm excited to bring that out, give comparisons. I think it's open for discussion, you guys. I want you guys to talk about it and bring it down. Give me some ideas of where I think things are at, and plus top stories. And I think one of the biggest stories coming out of the weekend has to be that bloodline. Roman Reigns had that opportunity to Roman Reigns has to figure something out with the bloodline this week, right? We're heading into WrestleMania. We're 5 weeks away before WrestleMania, and the bloodline seems to be all over the place. So we got to talk a little bit about that still to come. And then everything that's to come to Monday Night Raw. Oh gosh. Okay, that's what happens when you wrap up a little bit early on a program. So anyways, here's how we go. But we're also going to be taking a look at the bracket. I'm going to give you my wrestler of the week and show of the week tomorrow. I'll take a little bit more time to think about that. I want to start that back up. So that's on every Monday. So that's potentially a deal that we're working on. So we'll see how that comes. But alrighty. Well, you know what? I'm just sitting here waiting for the time to kick through. Let's go ahead and take a break. Come on back. Hour number 2 here begins on the throw-in. I listen to the throw-in on here on the TNC Sports Talk YouTube channel.
About to leave, already packing. Come with me, I'm not really asking. We'll get away to a place where we don't know. About to see the world in action, what we can be, life with no distractions. We'll get away, this is what we waited for. Take my hand, we'll make it somehow. We can't miss out. I'm done living life with the lights out. Die with my own doubts. Be free with me. Let's go, let's be free with me.
Alrighty, hour number 2 here on the program is given to you thanks with the help of Spreaker, our audio platforms where you guys can listen to the throw-in, download and check us out on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, iHeartRadio, Spreaker, Spotify. If it's a podcast you listen to, you should be able to check us out. The throw-in. And if you guys are looking to publish your podcast, check out Spreaker.com for more information. Alrighty, another hour here of the throw-in, taking you guys up until 2, and it is time to let's take a brief look around the world of sports in Cincinnati, and we got a lot of stuff going on here this weekend. It was a pretty impactful weekend. We talked about congratulating the indoor track and field to winning the AAC championships over the weekend. That continues in some of the sports. It's the push, right? It's baseball season at its finest, right? College and in pro baseball. And you got the push of the end of the regular season for NCAA basketball. That's getting you guys ready for March Madness, and we'll talk get you guys ready for March Madness tournament here. Probably a little later on this week. We'll have a couple weeks to talk about it, as I believe it begins on March 9th. But kicking things off here was a pretty big weekend for the Cincinnati Cyclones out there. They had a home game and then a road game on Friday and Saturday. On Friday, they hosted the Wichita Thunders on a Michael Hauser bobblehead giveaway day. They go on to pick up that victory 5-3. Zach Andrusiak shoots his 20th goal on the season. They headed on the road on Friday to take on Indy Fuel, and they go on to dominate them 7-1. Drusiak picks up his 21st and 22nd goal in the season. Justin Vive, 24th through the 27 goals on the season so far. Cyclones are remain in first place, 32, 12, and 5. As they wrapped up the month of February 10-3. Incredible month, a great bounce back month compared to January. They're currently on a 4-game winning streak. They're going to be taken on Wednesday night at puck drops at 7:30. They'll take on the Tulsa Oilers. Right now, it's really a close race in the ECHL central standings. The Cyclones currently hold that first place position. Toledo Walleyes, 32, 15, and 4, have that second place, followed by the Indy Fuels, 32, 19, and 2. I tell you, when you get a chance to win a division and kind of create that separation between you and your divisional opponents, that's always an advantage and a plus for the weekend. Cincinnati Bearcats men's basketball took on the Memphis Tigers yesterday on the road. They fell short to the Tigers, 73-76. They put up, it was a pretty close game. They put up 30 points in the first period, and then second period they led 43-35. Just wasn't enough to get the game done. David DeJulius assisted with 16.7 from the shooting from the floor, 6 rebounds, which is a season high. Landers Nolly, 13 points was contributed. Adi Aguama, 12 points, 4th double figures, all in the within the last of the season. All of them coming in the last 6 games. Cincinnati turned 15-point deficit in the first half to a 2-point game in the late second period. Cincinnati falls to 19-11, 10-7 on the AAC, as Memphis goes 22-7, 12-4 in the AAC. Next game, which is going to be the final game of the season, which is actually going to take place this Sunday at home. against the SMU Mustangs. Tip-off of that game is at 2 p.m. Bearcats baseball. Cincinnati took on a 3-game series against Florida Gators, which they all fell short to a 3-game losing streak as they got swept. They moved to 2-5. Couple of key notes here. We have game 1 on the 24th. Cincinnati falls 6-13. Garrett Harker put 3 1/3 innings in worth of work, gives up 7 hits, 6 runs, 3 walks, and 2 strikeouts. Ryan Nicholas went 2 for 4 with a home run, a triple, and a walk. On Saturday, the Bearcats also fall 3-13 in 8 innings this time. Chase Horst, 1 innings worth of work there, 2 hits, 5 runs, 1 walk, and 1 strikeout. As Dylan Broski, 4 1/3 innings, was a main contributor to the loss. 5 hits, 4 runs, 2 walks, 3 strikeouts in his outings there. Then they wrapped up the unfortunate sweep. Florida to 13-7. Chase Hopwell, 4 innings, 4 hits, 3 runs, 3 walks, 3 strikeouts across the board. Kyle Scopeman, 2 for 5 with the home run and 3 RBIs. They're going to take on the Miami, Ohio Redhawks on March 1st on Wednesday. Will be their home opener. Getting a chance. Tickets are still available. I'm last time I checked, first pitch is at 5 p.m. So if you guys are looking to check some baseball out, it's supposed to be a nice day on Wednesday. I'll tell you that. It's supposed to be 75 degrees on Wednesday afternoon. So go check out some Bearcats baseball. Over there for Xavier and the Musketeers, they took on Seton Hall Friday night on the road. They picked up a dominating victory, 82-60. They once led by 19 in the game, and they also had a 29-point game lead, an 81-52 lead on a Jerome Hunter's basketball basket with 2 minutes and 5 seconds left in the game. A big crowd of 10,481 was in attendance of this game on the road. As Soli Boom put up 23 points, 8 for 13 from the floor. Colby Jones, 19 points, 12 of the 19 was in the second half. Xavier moves to 21-8 in the overall, 13-5 on the Big East as Seton Hall moves to 9-9 on the Big East. The next game for Xavier Musketeers is going to be at Providence and taking on number 20 ranked. Their tip-off is going to be at 6:30 Wednesday night on FS1. Musketeers baseball here. They took on a 3-game winning streak here against Xavier against Western Carolina. Picked up a victory on Friday, 9-4 final score. Ethan Bosacker, 5 innings, 3 walks, 5 hits, 2 runs, and 6 strikeouts. Hayden Christensen, 2 for 4 with the home run and 4 RBIs. Xavier had a doubleheader on Sunday because it was rained out on Saturday, and this is why I told you that kind of got a chance to watch a little bit of Xavier baseball as the doubleheader was on ESPN Plus or ESPN2, I believe. Xavier picked up the first victory, 15-3, with 18 hits and 8 innings. And then the game 2 was 16-12, a big hitting game, 3 hours and 29 minutes. Justin Lohr picked up the victory, 3 1/3 inning, 4 hits, 2 runs, 2 walks, and 2 strikeouts. Jared Cushing was 2 for 6, hit his first home run of the season with 4 RBIs. Our next game is going to be tomorrow afternoon at 2 p.m. against Northern Kentucky Norris on the road. The Bearcats right now, or the Musketeers right now, are sitting 3-5 on the season. Over there with Kentucky Wildcat, another big impressive victory as they beat the Auburn Tigers on Saturday with the final score 86-54. just dominating, practically doubling their points, 40-29 in the first half, 46-25 in the second half. Oscar put up 22 points, 17 rebounds, 44th career double for Oscar. Antonio Rivas, 21 points. Carson Wallace, 19 points. Jacob Tippin, 13 points, career high, 12 rebounds and a double in Saturday's win. 56. They shot 56% from the floor as Auburn moves to 9-7 in the conference, as Kentucky moves to 11-5. Final home game will be held on Wednesday against the Vanderbilt Commodores. Tip-off is at 7 p.m. on SEC Network. Kentucky Wildcats baseball, as the Wildcats moved to 5-2 on a game-winning streak. They picked up a victory on Saturday against Wright State, 8-3. And then they moved on to a loss on Saturday of 12-9. And then they came back and shut out the Wright State 15-0. Zach Lee, 6 innings, 3 hits, 6 strikeouts. Devin Brooks and Hunter Gilliam both hit home runs in Sunday's shutout victory. They took 2 of 3 over the series. And one thing I noticed was the attendance. Friday's attendance was 1,775. Saturday moved up to 1,817 and 1948. So great. Kentucky Wildcat fans loving baseball there. Listen, that's all about these minor leagues keep on heading out to these games and supporting the local community there. Their next game is going to be on Tuesday against Morehead State Eagles. I'll be at home at 4 p.m. So that is your local sports of the I'd say of the weekend, and get you guys ready for stuff to come on for the week. But there you go. A couple other things coming out. The Los Angeles Lakers completed the biggest NBA comeback of the season, and 111-108 stunner over the Dallas Mavericks. LA trailed 48-21 in the second quarter. They come back to win 111-118. Okay. And it was just something that when we brought up back on Thursday, and we talked about this on Thursday with the NBAs and the standings and where each team belonged and whatnot. And the Lakers were pretty far down. They're third to last, and they picked up an impressive victory on Thursday against the Golden State Warriors, 124-111. And then they picked up an impressive victory last night in the comeback, 111-118. And the one thing that I say about the Lakers, all right, and it's this NBA, and we can make a case about every team, and we're not too big about it. It's just these are big stories. All right. So let's ask yourself, can the Lakers make it to the postseason? Absolutely. Can the Lakers I guess let's rephrase it. Can the Lakers make it to the postseason? Absolutely. 100%. What is it going to take? Well, it's going to take games like this. Now, there's two things that I don't want to see happen, because a series like this, right, where they picked up a victory on Thursday and then they picked up a victory on Sunday, which is great and all, and they had an impressive comeback. But I don't want people to overanalyze it or overthink it, because a win's a win, right? And I don't want the Lakers, they have a lot of work that needs to be done. They're 29 and 32. They're not even at 500 basketball yet. And, this is kind of a do or die moment, right? Because the last couple years, minus the 2020, shortened, revamped season, the Lakers have found trouble to get something going. Now, they kind of, I don't want to say cleaned house, but they got rid of the bad. They brought in the good. And it's going to be LeBron James. It's going to be Anthony Davis. And Anthony Davis was a major contributive factor to last night's win. But the Lakers, they don't need to win out, but they need to play more conservative, and they need to be able to captivate these wins. Now, listen, a win over the Mavericks, who are just on the inside of that conference leadership, is very impressive. To beat Stephen Curry and the Golden State Warriors is gonna be, was impressive. They're gonna have to face the Memphis Grizzlies and Oklahoma City. Now, maybe night 2 is gonna be on tomorrow. They'll be facing the Memphis Grizzlies on the road. Then they'll head over to Oklahoma City on Wednesday to face the Thunders. Now, here's my thing, okay? Because Memphis right now is kind of up there with the Denver Nuggets. And I'm sure that you're like, all right, well, the Lakers need to go in and play balls to the wall in that game. But then you kind of take a step back and say, all right, Oklahoma City, I don't want to exert myself to go over to Oklahoma and lose to Oklahoma. So this is where that conservative NBA basketball playing is going to be. You have a day off today. You're still on the road from Dallas to Memphis, and then you got to go over to Oklahoma on a Wednesday. Now, I'm pretty confident that the Lakers could beat Oklahoma because they're just on the outside looking in. They're in contingency of, kind of in that bubble. But these are the things that you look at and say, all right, the Lakers are going to have that uphill battle because a majority of the remainder of the season are going to be above guys, teams with winning records for one, and teams that are in the playoffs or looking to be in the playoffs or in the bubble to get into the playoffs early on. And they're not going to go fall over and bend over backwards. You only got maybe, San Antonio and Houston sit right underneath you. You got Portland Trail Blazers, Utah, but the overall statement is that the Lakers are kicking off, are so far, I don't want to jinx anything, but kicking off the second half of the NBA season with an impressive win because they know what they have to do. They know that if they want to make it to the playoffs, which is, I think, is a destined statement that they have to make it to the playoffs, but if they want to make it to the playoffs, this is what they're going to have to do. They're going to have to play these type of games. They're going to have to make the comebacks like they did yesterday. But at the same time, I also see the Lakers being one of those teams, where they're giving their all right now and they fight right now, and then they go on and they end up falling flat because they overexert themselves early on. And, I'm not saying, I'm pretty confident in myself saying that the Lakers can make it to the playoffs. And I'm not worried about the can. They most likely will make it to the playoffs. But it's about going, I'm not saying that they can win the playoffs, but they'll make it to the playoffs. So, all right. So that is that. So I'm going to take a break. When I come back, we're going to figure out how I want to give it to you because I'll give you my top 25 male athletes of 2023. And the reason why we're going to come discuss a lot of this because, last year we gave you our top 10s. And I want to show you my top 25s, but I feel like last week giving you my top 25 was just exerting. So we'll figure all that out. Still to come. Take you guys up until noon here on the TNC Sports Talk YouTube channel.
Inside your bedroom, we stopped counting the days lost in the rhythm. Physical silence, no need to speak a word, lay here beside me. Don't wanna move too fast,
need more time. You've already spent most of mine. Even when your words fail, you try to keep it light. You realize I'm done right. You can be honest. I don't appreciate your lies. It's about damn time you get it right. I'm up all night. You keep
All right, 11:23 here on the throw-in. And, this has been a project that has been procrastinated for a long time so far this year. And this has been a project that, I think if I was going to give you my honest opinion, that I believe that, last week I was giving you my top 25 females because I guess there was some females in that list that I wanted to really highlight that quite didn't make the top 10. And I took 2 whole segments of it. And I mean, okay, it was fine giving out that, information, being able to talk about all that stuff about these females. And I go back and listen to that episode if you missed the top 25 for females. But I want to give you my top 25 for men. I kind of want to do it in quite a different way. See if I can what happened? Let's see. Hold on one second. Let me see. Well, I have it here. Last week I was able to do it, but I'm not able to do it this week. Okay, there we go. Let's try that. Okay, let's go that. There we go. All right, so I'm going to share with you the screen that I have, and this is how I did it last weekend. And I had this is on an Excel file, and I was going through my Excel files, and this is what I was given. And so this was my top 25 list. And so let me just enlarge this a little bit. And this was kind of based off of a couple of knowledges that I have. Let's scroll down. All right, so my top 25. So I kind of want to highlight just really quickly a couple of the people that I have in my top 25. And be, like I said, don't be afraid to, weigh in and saying, hey, I disagree with you for these reasons. All right. So I have in my top from 20 to 25. Okay. And the reason why it says 26 down here is because I have some, titles up top. But I got Logan Paul, Jake Perry, aka Jungle Boy, Edge, Orange Cassidy, Brian Cage, and Drew McIntyre. Okay. And a couple of key things on my list. The reason why I have these in my 21 to 25. One, Logan Paul, I think, makes my list because he has definitely showed throughout the entire year that he's capable of having wrestling matches and really intense wrestling matches, kicking off against that WrestleMania, and then having a match at SummerSlam, and then challenging Roman Reigns at Crown Jewel. And I think that was an impressive. And a lot of people didn't think that he was capable of doing both. But yet again, I think a lot of people didn't think Bad Bunny could do both. And, Logan Paul is a pure athlete. And, regardless of whether you like him or you hate him, Logan Paul does play. He does bring people to watching wrestling for what he's capable of doing outside the ring and for what, he's able to attract wrestling, and he's provided some of those, this is awesome moments, in WWE over the last year. I don't think you can make the list without Jungle Boy being in the top 25. I think he's taken a huge step. After, I never really thought that him and Luchasaurus would have ever really separate ways. I never really saw that being something that could have happened, but it's happened. And, when you look at Luchasaurus and you look at Jungle Boy and you kind of think to yourself, if they could have a singles career, you kind of almost think that Jungle Boy couldn't. Now, he went on and now he's teaming up with Hook, but, to be able to bounce back from that, from the separation and being able to, figure something out that works for him, deserves to be in the top 25. Also, Edge, I think, fits in the top 25 in my books. A lot of people are saying, and I hear this all the time, he should retire. And then there's also a handful of people that are saying that they love watching him Edge wrestle. Now, we understand that Edge is a limited athlete, right? He's capable of doing so much, and then he has to recover. And I think the roles that he's played over 2022, okay, has really given him the opportunity to do what he wants to do. Okay. And I know that he's in my top 25 because, as it says here, he's 39 years old. He knows he's almost done. He's acknowledged it. But he's also the founder of the Judgment Day. That right now, Rhea Ripley, Damian Priest, Finn Balor, and Dominic Mysterio are thriving on. And he's helping these younger generation of talent. He's helping pushing some of these guys, the work that he's doing with Dominic Mysterio, I think is the reason why he's in my top 25. All right, coming in from 16 to 20. Okay, and this is when it starts getting a little bit more. We got Wardlow coming at number 16. Yeah. Okay. Let me not confuse myself for a moment. All right, so we got 1, 2. 1, 2. And I'm sorry. All right, so my 21 to 25 is Jungle Boy, Edge, Orange Cassidy, Brian Cage, and Drew McIntyre. I talked about Logan Paul, but he's number 20. So 16 is Brock Lesnar, Dominic Mysterio, Carmelo Hayes, CM Punk, and then Logan Paul at 20. CM Punk, and I don't talk about, I don't like, I really not, he gravitates my attention. He's something that I talk about, but I try not to talk too much about him. He deserves to be in the top 20 on my list. And the reason why he deserves to be in the top 20 on my list is because when you're creating a top list, it's about what you brought to the professional wrestling world. Or whether it's audience, whether it's merchandise, whether it's storytelling, whatever the case may be. And yes, Punk got hurt, and he only held the title for a total of 8 days. Yeah, it's kind of a both. And no one likes CM Punk. I mean, I don't like CM Punk. I don't know how other people can tolerate CM Punk. I think CM Punk, I've said what I've said about him. But this moment is that he has captivated the AEW world title. Okay. And he's been able to have some decent matches when he was healthy. Right. I think one of the famous matches that comes out of CM Punk in 2022 is the dog collar match with MJF. Okay. And this dog collar and this whole, rivalry with him and the preaching and the who has a better, the pipe bomb, who has a better segment. I I think, indicated him to that. Now, I think it's more so for MJF than it is to Punk, but this is where Punk, is at. Dominic Mysterio, I think I think if Dominic Mysterio stayed with Rey Mysterio as a tag team, tag teams, then he doesn't make the cut. All right, he drops. I think moving off on his own at the age of 25, finding his place with the Judgment Day and trying to get him another image. The only problem that I have with Dominic Mysterio is that he moved from Rey Mysterio partnering with them to moving to the to moving to the Judgment Day, and now trying to imitate Eddie Guerrero. And one, it works to a certain level, but see, the problem I have with Dominic is that he's not making a name for himself. He doesn't have an image of his own. Okay. He simply was under his father's shadow when he was teaming up with his father, Ray. And then now he's trying to try extremely hard, maybe too hard, for keeping up with, trying to imitate this, Eddie Guerrero early days. Now, some of it works. I get that. But I think in the long run, this is, he is not creating his own name. He's imitating his name. He's making, there's a little bit of mediocrity that comes to this character that he's playing, that he tries so hard that sometimes it just doesn't get across. This whole mommy thing, this whole, back and forth thing with Rhea Ripley, this whole Eddie Guerrero image where you're growing out your hair and you're trying to do the whole, I'm your pop. I think it's a little too much and it doesn't come natural. It was fun at the beginning. There's moments where it warrants its use, but it doesn't really need to be there. He could be much higher, but he yet to make his name for himself. Brock Lesnar, listen, he's played a role in WWE. He's not in the top 10, but he's to the programs. I like Brock Lesnar. All right, coming in from 11 to 15, all right, is Bryan Danielson, Bobby Lashley, Claudio Castagnoli, Cody Rhodes, and Wardlow. I think the reason why Cody Rhodes is down so far on my list is because of the injury. There's no doubt about it. His return to the WWE, it was very significant, and it's really changed the atmosphere of professional wrestling, especially in the WWE. For the first time, you actually saw something looking up for the WWE. But I really think that he really don't think that he was in the top 10. Wardlow, he won that TNT championship, and I knew he was going to win a title last year, but he didn't really have the title run as expected. I really wish that they would have pushed up. I think with injuries, that prevailed. I think that's what kind of kept him from advancing. Bobby Lashley in and out last year. I say about Bryan Danielson, he's a workhorse, but he's a fighter. All right. And then last but not least, coming in my top 10. And like I said, you may agree, you may disagree. I want to hear your comments down below. Let me know what you guys think. Coming in at number 10 is Samoa Joe. All right. At 43, he's a TNT champion, AEW TNT champion, and Ring of Honor's World Television champion. He's he's only lost one match. From a guy who was, constantly getting injured in the WWE, he steps away, he finds this new place, and he's filling some pretty big shoes. Coming in at number 9 is Sami Zayn, and I think that's probably self-warranted, although, he had an incredible losing streak. He has a very low winning percentage from last year. He could have simply gone from nobody to the top of the food chain, in my opinion. So Sami Zayn comes in at number 9. Coming in number 8 is Josh Alexander, who is your Impact World Champion for 309 days. He's 61-11 with the win-loss record in 79 matches. The 35-year-old. The one thing I will say about Josh Alexander, and I think I'll say this about some other athletes later on, as we, kind of still we'll talk about, Impact Wrestling here maybe later on in the weeks to come. But I feel like Josh Alexander has reached his ceiling in Impact. I think he needs to go over. I don't know if he needs to go back over to Ring of Honor, but he's accomplished everything you can accomplish in Impact Wrestling, in my opinion. And I think this is over the next year or so. I would like to see him go somewhere else. Coming in at number 7 is MJF. Although he hasn't had any major matches, only 9 matches, 5-4 in the year. He's currently AEW World Champion, as surpassed 100 days now. MJF has played a significant role in AEW in 2022. He's brought in a lot of seats, and we've seen that. Gunther, I think probably comes in at number 6, probably an underrated talent star, NXT champion for 328 days. Seth Rollins comes in at number Braun Breaker. No, not Gunther. I'm sorry. Gunther, I think, is an underrated person, as well as Braun Breaker, who comes in at number 5. Okay. I think because of the bloodline, Gunther hasn't really, Imperium hasn't been able to step up to that reign. And on top of that, I think Gunther's also brought back some fight and he brought back some integrity with that Intercontinental Championship. Braun Breaker is another guy that's been overlooked because he is NXT champion for 328 days. He's only lost 5 matches, last year, and he's only 25. Now, I would like to see him be brought up sooner than later to the WWE, the main roster, but he's been also carrying the NXT brand quite well. Seth Rollins comes in at number 4, the workhorse of the WWE in 122 matches. He's 46-75. He's also been responsible for help carrying Monday Night Raw last year with or without a title. So that's why he comes in at number 4. Chris Jericho, at the age of 52, still capable of putting on matches. And I think he's also that glue with AEW. He always could seem to find himself in that story picture that puts AEW on that map. Jon Moxley comes in at number 2, 63 matches, 57-6. I think it was something it says a lot about somebody when you are expected to take time off and you're asked, hey, no, listen, I need you to step up and be the face of AEW again. And Jon Moxley said, all right, just when and where. And when all else failed, he stepped in last year and he filled in some big shoes when it was supposed to go a different direction. And then last but not least, Roman Reigns, number 1. I don't think anyone can disagree with that, but Roman Reigns is the number 1. He's, he was almost there last year. And he definitely deserves to be there at the top of the list. All right. Do you guys disagree or agree with my list? Let me know down in the comments below. Comparison last year, my top 10. I had Jonathan Gresham, Christian. I also had Drew McIntyre, Carmelo Hayes, Hangman Page, Bryan Danielson. So a lot of things have ultimately changed for my top 10 list, and we'll keep the list and we'll go over it next year as well. All right, let's take a break. Let's come back and talk some SmackDown and get you guys ready for Monday Night Raw, which is tonight. We have some big tag team actions about for us as Becky Lynch and Lita get ready to take on Damage Control, Dakota Kai, and Hero Sky. That's still to come. Wrapping up our show here on a Monday morning here on the TNC Sports Talk YouTube channel.
I'ma need safety. Tell her I can't snake me. Ray gun off safety. My girl so tasty. Tell her it's your world. She want the two-tone spaceship. Blow smoke screen daily, so the stress don't phase me. I'm going. I keep it factual.
Already want to. It provides us some music for our program. Epic Demon Sound, discover world-class artists, composers, and band. Find the perfect soundtrack and get social media accounts and music they deserve. Epic Demon Sound is a royalty-free music link. For more information, check out epicdemicsound.com. Monday Night Raw is tonight. We are just about 5 weeks away from WrestleMania. As stories creep, what to look out for Raw here. Becky Lynch and Lita have their eyes on the women's tag team titles as they look to hopefully capture heading into WrestleMania the women's tag team titles. And I think that would be probably a wise decision. Will Brock Lesnar accept Omos's WrestleMania challenge? And what's the come after Finn Balor cost Edge the United States Championship last week in Canada? So all that is still to come tonight. And, I don't, can you see a WrestleMania? Who does not deserve to be in WrestleMania this year? Because if you take Damage Control, if you put the titles on Becky Lynch and Lita, do you see Damage Control and Bayley at WrestleMania trying to get the tag team titles again? Or is there another storyline for them? Because honestly, I would like to see Shayna Baszler and Ronda Rousey compete for those tag team titles. And I think if you're going to have Ronda Rousey and Shayna Baszler at WrestleMania competing for those tag team titles, then you have to also, you kind of want those tag team titles to be held with I guess you would say with the top, with some athletes that can actually compete against Ronda and Shayna Baszler. And no disrespect to Io Sky and Dakota Kai, but you put them up against on paper Ronda Rousey and Shayna Baszler, and this is not a match whatsoever. So maybe it's a good idea that we see Becky Lynch and Lita capture those titles for that sake purposes. I mean, I guess you can put I guess you could put them in a triple threat, but then, when you take the titles off of Dakota Kai and Io Sky, and if you move, let's say you move down that direction, what's Bayley's plan for WrestleMania? They're talking about, there's a whole bunch of WrestleMania match cards that are set. One thing that, is kind of possessing, it's going to be kind of a big week as we are 5 weeks away from WrestleMania. Back on SmackDown, Jey Uso looked, let's see if I can find it here. Probably not. So Jey Uso had a look on as Sami Zayn takes out Jimmy Uso. Now, Paul Heyman delivered a message on Friday Night SmackDown, just kind of filling in some content here. Paul Heyman delivered a message to Jimmy Uso saying, hey, listen, tonight's your night. Whatever you got to do to get Jay back on our side, to get Jay's mind cleared, because the bloodline needs to reunite and needs to be a unity, then you go do that. What ended up happening is that instead of Jay coming out as Jimmy tried to convince Jay, Sammy came out and tried to convince Jimmy, kind of saying, hey, we've been friends for this long. You've had my back. You kind of got me where I'm at today, and Roman Reigns is all about himself. And I think Sammy's made some very valid points. And, it's kind of hard to choose because, yeah, family's family, and through the thick and thin, you got to stick with family. But at the same time, you don't walk away on family. You don't disown family. And so it's kind of hard to decide, all right, what side should you be on? But so while Jimmy was trying to get Jay back, Sami was trying to get Jimmy to to turn his back against, Roman. And Sami is kind of pretty blunt about it. Hey, I'm destined to take out the bloodline. And if you're part of the bloodline, I'm going to have to take you out too. And so, Sami and Jimmy started fighting, and Jay looked on from from the staircases up in the crowd, and it was an utter failure. So now we get to see this Friday, Roman Reigns returns to SmackDown to amid the bloodline's turmoil. He's going to take matters into his own hands. And whether you like it or not, this is where WrestleMania becomes fun. This is where WrestleMania becomes interesting. There's the report about the Usos taking on Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens at WrestleMania, right? There's also the report that this may be the highlight of night 1, and the bloodline is going to dominate the main event for both night 1 and night 2 at WrestleMania. And, we were talking about this for the past couple of weeks about Sami Zayn, and it's doing an injustice if we don't see him in some sort of main event title shot. We're talking about it will do injustice to Sami Zayn for building up for the last 8 months, finally hit the ceiling. He exploded beyond the ceiling and being one of the top athletes in the WWE. And, okay, so now the other option is putting him with Kevin Owens and having him face the Usos. So there's 2 options that we can go down. Cody Rhodes, Roman Reigns, Sami Zayn, which in my opinion, this is kind of like a repeat from a few years back when Edge won the Royal Rumble and then Daniel Bryan entered in as a third member. And I see that direction because you can see either Cody Rhodes or Roman Reigns can pin Sami Zayn. And if Cody Rhodes pins Sami Zayn and takes that title away, then Roman Reigns it's no harm, no foul, right? Roman Reigns could go take his break. He could, go rest up, take his little vacation, come back and say, listen, I never lost a title. You never beat me, beating me fair and square. And it will still keep Sami Zayn included into that top tier match. Now, if you go the tag team route and you go main event WrestleMania, my problem is with that is that we're going to see back-to-back nights, which is a little upsetting with me, where the women's Royal Rumble match, the women's Royal Rumble winner, will not have a main event moment at WrestleMania. And back-to-back years, Charlotte Flair would not have a main event match. And okay, I don't quite necessarily see Rhea Ripley and Charlotte Flair as that number one, as a main event caliber, at least for WrestleMania. But I think it would do injustice for them. Now, Paul Heyman said this the best, and I think that if they don't go on last, they need to go on first. And I think if they're not going to be the main event of WrestleMania, then it's going to go down to they should be the first. They should kick things off at WrestleMania on night 1. The other thing is, too, and we'll save this conversation for a later date, but last year, Becky Lynch and Bianca Belair was a better match compared to Ronda and Charlotte. This year with Bianca and Asuka, that honestly looks like a better match, in my opinion, than Rhea and Ripley. And so you just, when you win the Royal Rumble, you're supposed to highlight a WrestleMania moment. And I think a highlight would be an understatement for these two. The other thing that I want to continue, though, is that, which would lead to the other question. I know there's been conversation about the Usos maybe separating the titles. And I think if you put Sami Zayn and you put Kevin Owens together to face the Usos at WrestleMania, night one, main event, it does a couple of things. Sammy still gets that spotlight, and he gets that main event spotlight, which is, I think, is crucial. And I think the WWE could slide by and get away with that if they don't throw Sammy into the, Cody Rhodes Roman Reigns match, right? But then the conversation is, do you split the titles? And I would say is if you have Sammy and Kevin taking on the Usos, you don't split the titles. You let them drop both titles, and for at least 1 month, right, up until Backlash, you see Kevin Owens, Sami Zayn as the unified titles. Now, I think moving forward, at least by SummerSlam, and this is just a projection for me, that I would like to see the titles kind of being separated again, just because we are now building our we're kind of now building our tag team division back up. So yes, I would like to see the tag team titles built again. But that's still, that, like I said, dominant. Going to be a nice week on SmackDown coming up this Friday night. So I saved a little bit last 2 minutes of the program because the Reds are scheduled to take first pitch is at 3:05, and we have the lineup that was just distributed out. You can watch this game on Bally Sports Ohio. You can also watch this game on Bally Sports Southwest Extra for the Rangers. You can also listen to the game on WSII 1360 or the Rangers MLB.com for more information. All right. So let me just kind of break down the roster, the lineup here for the Cincinnati Reds as they get on to game number 3. They will have the right-handed pitcher Hunter Green on the mound for the Redlegs. Batting first at second base is Jonathan India. Over there behind the plate, catching for the first time this spring is Tyler Stevenson. He'll be batting second. The right fielder, Will Myers, he'll be batting third. The cleanup spot will be belonging to Chad Pender. He'll be batting. He'll be playing left field. Playing in center field today, batting sixth is Will Benson. Luke Mile will be doing the designated hitter. He'll be batting seventh, and batting eighth is Neolvi Marte. I believe that's his name. Neolvi Marte, and he'll be playing third base, batting eighth, and batting ninth, the first baseman Christian Encarnacion Strand. So it's India, Stevenson, Myers, Pender, Benson, Mile, Marte, and Encarnacion Strand for the Reds today in their spring training game. So that's it. That's what we got for you today. We'll talk about some more Reds baseball as the week progressed. Take a look into the top of this fun stuff. Everyone had a great show today. We'll be back again tomorrow. Thank you guys for listening to the throw-in here on the TNC Sports Talk YouTube channel.